Life has a way of testing us in moments we least expect. Sometimes the trials come in the form of personal struggles, other times in the cruel betrayal of those we trust most. My story is not one of overnight heartbreak, but of a slow unraveling, threads of loyalty and love fraying until they snapped in the most devastating way. I never imagined that the two people I trusted with my soul, my wife and my best friend, would turn into the architects of my greatest pain. But pain has its own strange alchemy. It either breaks you down completely or forges you into someone stronger than you ever believed possible. It all began in a season of hope. I had always been the kind of man who believed in hard work, loyalty, and the quiet strength of family. I wasn't perfect, but I gave everything to the life I was building. My wife and I had been together for years, and I thought what we shared was unshakable. We had weathered storms, celebrated milestones, and built dreams brick by brick. And then there was my best friend, someone I had known since childhood. He was more like a brother than a friend. Our bond was forged in years of laughter, secrets, and unwavering support. To me, loyalty was sacred, and I believed they both held that same value. But life has a cruel way of hiding truths behind masks. What I thought was unshakable turned out to be fragile glass, ready to shatter the moment betrayal slipped in. At first, the cracks were small. I ignored them, as people often do when they don't want to face reality. I chalked up her distance to stress, her distracted smile to exhaustion. My friend's increasing presence around her I explained away as nothing more than casual camaraderie. After all, they both meant everything to me. Why would I ever question them? Trust, once given, is not something you hold half-heartedly. I trusted them completely. But trust is a double-edged sword. It protects you when it's honored, and it destroys you when it's broken. Days turned into weeks, and I felt her slipping further away. She still said she loved me, still smiled when others were around, but in the quiet moments, her warmth was gone. She would linger on her phone late at night, her laughter soft and secretive. I wanted to believe it was nothing, that my mind was simply playing cruel tricks. But deep inside, a voice whispered, "Something is wrong." The moments with my friend began to sting in ways I didn't want to admit. He was there more often, his visits more frequent, his laughter with her too easy. I told myself it was my paranoia, that old bonds naturally extended into new ones. But then I began to notice the looks, fleeting, subtle, but too intimate to ignore. She glowed differently when he was near, as though my presence had become invisible. And he, the man who had once been my brother in spirit, avoided my gaze a little too often, as though guilt was quietly eating away at him. Still, I resisted the truth. Because to accept it meant everything I built was a lie. The unraveling came not in a single explosion, but in a slow suffocation. Each day chipped away at me. I poured my heart into keeping things together, into reigniting what we had, into reminding her that love was worth fighting for. But love cannot survive when loyalty has already been sold elsewhere. And then it happened. The confirmation came like a blow I couldn't prepare for. It was late one evening when I came home earlier than expected. The house was dimly lit, her phone left carelessly on the counter. I never checked her phone before, never felt the need, but something pulled me toward it. Perhaps it was fate, or perhaps it was the last spark of instinct that told me the truth was waiting to be uncovered. And there it was. Messages that sliced through me like a knife. Words that should have been reserved for me were spilled across the screen for him. Promises of love, confessions of stolen moments, dreams of a future together. I felt my chest tighten, my breath grow shallow, as if the world had stopped spinning. Every word I read stripped away a piece of my soul. She had not only betrayed me, but she had betrayed us. And he, my friend, my brother, had been the one to hold the knife. The days that followed were a blur of numbness and rage. I confronted her, my voice trembling not with anger, but with the agony of a man whose heart had been torn apart. She didn't deny it. The look in her eyes told me everything. She had already left me in her heart long before she left me in reality. And my friend, he avoided me, his silence louder than any apology could ever be. They were together soon after, as if my existence had been erased. People whispered, some with pity, some with judgment, but none of it mattered. I was broken, a shell of who I once was. Nights stretched into endless hours of torment. I replayed every moment, every laugh, every promise, searching for signs I missed. I drowned in questions that had no answers. But as with all storms, there came a turning point. Pain has a way of reshaping us, of burning away illusions until only the truth remains. I realized that while they had taken my trust, my love, and my dreams, they could not take my will to rise. I had a choice: remain broken or rebuild from the ruins. So I chose to rebuild. It wasn't easy. Healing never is. But I began to find myself again, piece by piece. I poured my energy into my passions, my work, my own growth. I learned that betrayal, as devastating as it is, does not define you. It defines them. Their actions were a reflection of their character, not mine. Time passed, and with it came clarity. I saw them together once, years later. Their smiles seemed forced, their eyes weary. Perhaps betrayal builds foundations too fragile to last. Or perhaps karma has its own way of evening the scales. I didn't need to know. All I needed was the peace I had found within myself. Because in the end, betrayal taught me something invaluable: loyalty is rare, and not everyone is worthy of it. Trust must be given wisely, and love must be cherished by both hearts, not just one. My story is not just about heartbreak, but about survival. It is about discovering that, even in the deepest darkness, you can find light again. It is about realizing that sometimes the people you love most are the ones who will hurt you the worst, but also that you are stronger than the pain they cause. And so I leave you with this. When the people you trust most betray you, will you let it destroy you, or will you let it transform you? Because sometimes, the most powerful revenge is simply to rise above, stronger, wiser, and unbroken.